a huge family reunion. Oh,
Okay.
hi, Lynn. All right, we're going to give just a minute for everybody else to check out the chat box to fill out our pre-program poll, as well as to comment in the box. Dr. Brahma is looking forward to group yoga classes. I'm right there with you. And Dr. McCarthy Keith is excited for live jazz in the park. I think you're going to have to tell us all about that because that sounds awesome. And Alana is looking forward to having a little bit of quiet time with her kids in camp. All right, do you guys think it's a good time to get started? Oh, perfect. Okay. All right. First things first, thank you everybody for joining us today. I'm going to give a quick introduction of who I am, and then we'll move on with our program and introduce everybody else. I'm Quentin Cattler. You guys can call me Quinn. I'm actually the second year REI fellow at Emory. I met some of you guys recently when I was interviewing and touring the SGF facility. But for those of you that I didn't have the opportunity to meet, I'm really looking forward to meeting you all in person. I'll tell you a little bit about my personal journey with JFF. It actually began a few years back when I was an OBGYN resident living in DC. And I remember at some point I came across JFF through some random Instagram perusing. And I remember feeling really ecstatic to learn that there was a nonprofit that existed who was specifically geared to catering to the really unique needs of Jewish couples that were experiencing infertility. I personally identify as Jewish, and I actually spent considerable time taking care of Jewish patients and couples as a medical student living in Israel. So this organization had tremendous appeal to me as an aspiring fertility doctor. And as a fellow at Emory, I've witnessed firsthand the impact that JFF can have on our own patients. Particularly, I've found that JFF does a really wonderful job of focusing on the entire person, including, as you guys will learn, the focus on mental health as well as education, and then primarily through substantial financial assistance for our patients. As you guys will learn today, JFF really has a place for all patients, regardless of their religious affiliation, so not just Jewish patients. I personally am so thrilled and I feel so privileged to have the opportunity to help JFF give back to our Atlanta community. And I believe that our impact really starts in sessions like these today, where each of us can learn that not just the doctors, but all of us can play our own part in increasing awareness of all the unique programs that JFF can offer our patients. Just as one quick example, we recently had a clinic training at Emory, and we had financial counselors that came up to me recently and told me that they felt so empowered talking to patients about some of the grant options that were available to their patients that they truly had no idea existed before clinic trainings like the one that you guys are about to see. So that's really the goal today, is so that you guys leave feeling educated and empowered. I'm not sure where our background went.
I turned because you were speaking.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
So one sec. So now I'm just going to introduce some of the speakers that are here today. First things first, you just heard from Alana Frank. So she's the JFF CEO and founder. Lynn Goldman is also on the call. She is an Atlanta attorney who works with a lot of our patients. Ooh, one second. Specifically patients that are undergoing fertility treatment. She's also on the JFF board of directors. We also have Rabbi Shapiro on the call, who is a really awesome dude. He's also a really respected leader in the Atlanta Jewish community, a source of wonderful knowledge that you guys are going to learn today. He's also a really good resource for you all if you guys have any specific questions relating to observant Jewish couples undergoing fertility treatment. So on that note, now I'm going to pass the mic off to Alana, who is going to talk to us a little bit about JFF's mission.
All right. Hi, everyone. I know many of you. I'm Ilana Frank. I'm the CEO and founder of Jewish Fertility Foundation. Like many of us who are in this space, it is personal. I have 3 kids born various forms of treatments. My first 2, I was living in Israel at the time, and I was really, really fortunate that through socialized medicine, my first 2 children didn't ask me anything. And it didn't go, so easily. It was very hard with my husband. I had all of the mental health issues that many of your patients are familiar with. And it was really hard. And when I moved back to America, I quickly understood, oh my God, people are paying thousands and thousands of dollars to grow their families. And that's just not fair. And so we were able to start the Jewish Fertility Foundation. Along the way, I wasn't done growing my family, and through a beautiful gift of embryo donation, I was able to have my 3rd and final child, and he's 2 today and super cute. I'm going to share the screen a little bit about what we do within the Jewish Fertility Foundation and how it can impact you and your patients. So again, infertility is really, really hard, and you're all doing an amazing job of helping people get to the other side. So, oopsies, we try to do our part as well. We serve the Jewish community with individuals who have medical fertility challenges, and we do it in 3 major ways: through financial assistance, emotional support, and educational programming. So our financial assistance is geared to the Jewish community. That means that if you're part of a couple, one or both of you do need to be Jewish. It is needs-based fertility grants. So that means that we evaluate your financial need, and we offer up to $10,000 of financial assistance of funds that directly go into to the fertility clinics themselves. They do not go to individuals via checks or anything like that. We also are really excited that Shady Grove Fertility for many, many years now has offered fertility clinic discounts of $2,500 to our grantees. So that means that they have to get a fertility grant from Jewish Fertility Foundation. And on top of that, they're able to get a $2,500 reduction of services. And that's good for IVF. As well as for, I forgot what yours is called, the baby guarantee program, the shared risk program. Additionally, we partner with a local interest-free loan association, and they offer up, actually, it's just been increased, up to $10,000 of interest-free loans. And that's good for medication. That's good for basically the things that we don't pay for. We don't pay for PGD or PGS. Let's say somebody's going through adoption or through surrogacy. They're able to use that interest-free loan money toward that. So our emotional support, our mental health services are open to anybody regardless of religious background. So anybody, any of your patients are encouraged to come to our programs, which are all free of charge. So what we do is we offer local infertility support groups. Of course, everything, not even of course, but right now, because of COVID, everything is still on Zoom. And all of our programs are run by infertility therapists. So people don't have to come to our support groups and share necessarily terms and definitions of infertility. Everybody who runs our groups are very familiar with what the process of fertility treatments are about. Additionally, we offer a fertility buddies program. So it's basically like somebody like me who's been through infertility is matched up with somebody who's currently experiencing infertility. And they're not your friend, they're not your therapist, but it's somebody really to be with you along the journey. And additionally, we have private online support. So again, the biggest lesson here is our programs are open to anybody outside of the Jewish community too, and they're free of charge. The last piece of what we offer in our three-pronged mission approach are educational trainings. And that's kind of like what we're doing right now. We love working with our fertility clinic medical professionals, specifically training you all on the special needs of Jewish patients. You might notice that things could be a little bit different for some of your more observant patients, and we're going to get to that today. Additionally, we work with the Jewish community, and we train our leadership on infertility sensitivity, basically how they can be more supportive to their communities when people are experiencing infertility. We also work with communities on what are some ways that you can support somebody who's experiencing infertility. I get calls from intended grandparents all the time, friends and family of people who are going through it, and really people just want to help. And so we offer panel conversations that give guidance on how to help individuals experiencing infertility, what to say and what not to say. And our last panel conversation that we love to offer the community are different pathways to parenthood. So if your traditional approach might not work for you, we know that there are other opportunities like embryo donation or surrogacy or traditional IVF, IUI, and beyond to be able to achieve parenthood. And again, all of our educational programs, just like our mental health services, are free and open to anybody regardless of religious background. So I want to give a shout out to Dr. Valerie Libby and Dr. Pavna Brahma, two of our favorite Shady Grove fertility doctors who are on our medical advisory council. So I'm going to quickly turn it over to Dr. Libby and Brahma just to just let us know, like, why are you guys loving on JFF and why are you involved? Dr. Libby, you're on.
Well, thank you for having us and for providing lunch. I know that I'm not at the office today, but I'm sure I hope everyone is enjoying it. That was very nice of you. Amazing. Because you guys are a nonprofit and bringing lunch to us is, takes away from money that we're providing for our patients. So that's really amazing of you guys. I mean, I don't know about Dr. Brahma, but I think it's an amazing organization. You're wonderful. Your whole team is wonderful. You've grown this. And a lot of our patients are Jewish, and a lot of them don't know that they have these free grants to them. And so since a lot of our patients are Jewish, I know about this. I send a lot of them there, every Jewish patient, I tell them about this. And it's amazing that you provide grants basically no matter what, as long as one person is, Jewish. And even if it's the small amount to the maximum amount, it's just incredible. And it's so appreciated. And I think it's so beautiful. And I love working with you guys. You are super easy. We have an amazing team of doctors on the board, including Dr. Brahma, that, basically we review everyone's applications and usually discuss, how likely it is for the person to have success. And then based on those numbers, sort of like our Shady Grove calculator, we decide how much money to give each couple. And I think that it's wonderful what you do. And there aren't that many organizations that help people with fertility funding. So it's really nice. I love working with y'all.
We love you too. Dr. Brahma.
Thank you so much for doing this today, Ilana, and for everybody coming together. This is really special because I think our clinic I think we have an increase in JFF grant recipients, patients, and it's really exciting for everybody to get this orientation. So thank you. I was so excited and honored to be asked to be on your board in 2019. It was a very kind of, it's something I feel lucky to be a part of. And the fact that though I'm not Jewish, it speaks to the diversity in who you're willing to help. And just, I've learned through just working with your organization how much we all have in common. We have so much more in common than the differences that separate us. So I've absolutely loved it. Yes, from an academic kind of perspective, as MDs, we are helping to look at your applications, trying to help decide chances of pregnancy, but I've been so lucky to have patients coming to me. And I think a couple of the biggest points I'll tell you. Number one, I can't tell you how many patients start our conversation by saying, we got the JFF grant. That is the only reason we can pursue IVF or IUI. But a lot of individuals are waiting and saving up for IVF. And then they get this grant, which on top of it all is a substantial grant. It's not just, $100. I mean, these are thousands of dollars, and they're kind of like game changer kind of grants. This is a decision whether this couple can try to have a baby or not, and so that is just remarkable. I think the other part of it that I love, and it's inspired by you, Ilana, really are these chat rooms and buddies. Literally, there are times when I have patients in treatment and they're talking to each other, through these chats about the process, supporting one another. And it's remarkable. It helps everybody get through things. And it makes me feel better knowing they have each other. So, so they are just loving that. So I would say those are kind of some of the most amazing parts of it. But I definitely feel grateful that you're here today and to be a part of your organization.
Thanks, guys. That's so sweet. Amazing. So we are going to turn it over now to Lynn Goldman, our board chair, and she's going to talk a little bit, let me move my screen, about some of the other pieces of our organization.
Great. So again, I'm Lynn Goldman. I am an adoption and fertility attorney. I get to work with a lot of your patients. And I actually was a Shady Grove patient myself. I have twins, and so I'm so grateful to Shady Grove. They are now 19 years old, and I have 4 embryos still at Shady Grove. So, okay, so just to tell you a little bit about, being Jewish and the different types of Jewish people. So we have Reform Jews, Conservative Jews, and Orthodox Jews. I am Reform, and ways that you know that I'm Reform is some of my clothing, I don't have a yarmulke on. I also don't cover my elbows and my collarbone and things like that. And I don't either wear a head covering or a wig. So that's one way to know if someone is Reform. Just a little bit about, an organization called JScreen that we work with. And I think you had that on the screen just a second ago. So JScreen is an organization that we partner with that provides genetic screening. And one of the things they specifically do is screen for a lot of Jewish genetic factors. And as a person that went through JScreen myself and found out I'm a carrier of cystic fibrosis, I think it's so important for everybody to be screened to make sure that, they don't have any genetic factors that might impact their fertility treatment. And we actually, as an organization, as JFF, require that all of our grant recipients receive screening through JScreen. So we think that's really important. So just to tell you a little bit about our Jewish community in Atlanta, there are over 120,000 Jewish people in Atlanta of all different denominations. Like I said, whether it be Reform, Conservative, or Orthodox. And 1 in 6 Jewish individuals are affected by infertility, which in the regular population, it's about 1 in 8. So that's why we're so focused on our Jewish population, because infertility affects us a lot, both just genetically and infertility wise. So, and as you might know, one of the big doctrines in Judaism is to be fruitful and multiply. And that's a huge pressure on Jewish people. A lot of our religious ceremonies and our synagogue is really structured around family. When your family doesn't have children, it makes it difficult. Not only religiously does it make it difficult, as you know, it makes it difficult in a marriage, it makes it difficult in friendships, and for sure difficult financially. But this doctrine of be fruitful and multiply is a huge pressure for us. And in our Orthodox community, it's even more pressure because a lot of our community that is Orthodox, it is important to them to have multiple children. And so it impacts them not just the first time if they're going through fertility, but in successive journeys as well. So.
Thank you, Lynn. And now we're going to turn it over to Rabbi Shapiro, one of our favorite grantees and rabbis in the area.
Hi, thank you, everyone. Contrary to what most people are probably thinking, that I created my background, this is actually where I am. I'm on vacation, and I would not have done work for anyone else, but I'm very grateful both to JFF and to Shady Grove. We have become pregnant not once, but now twice. So special thank you to Valerie Libby for her help. I actually have not met her yet. Thank you to COVID, but hopefully soon. As Lynn mentioned, there are different branches of Judaism. I am a rabbi in the Orthodox group. So I don't know if you can see, but there's something on my head, which is called a kippah or yarmulke, and that generally will mean that a patient is Orthodox. As well as for women, they're typically dressed more modestly. As Lynn mentioned, they'll often cover their hair with some type of head covering. And there are many rules that come up that can complicate fertility treatment. One of them that comes up is in scheduling. The Jewish calendar has a Shabbat every Saturday, which comes in Friday afternoon and goes until Saturday evening. And then we also have holidays throughout the year. And the biggest rule that comes up related to treatment is that we don't drive on those days. So if you have an Orthodox patient and they're scheduling something, often this treatment is going to end up falling out on a Saturday, and I'm going to have to figure out last minute, how am I getting there? So one of the things that clinics can do to help, and Shady Grove did this for us, and it was very helpful, was to help them plan in advance. So yes, if you do this on this day, then you're likely to have to end up on a Saturday. Oh, you know what? Let's switch that so that we can actually do it in a day that works for us, so we don't have something come up. Hold on, we have a question that came in. Oh, excellent question. As far as all scheduling. So yes, because the issue is specific to getting to the clinic more so than the actual treatment, in general, if you can avoid anything that has to be done in the clinic on a Saturday or any holiday, that can alleviate a lot of pressure. One important point, very often there can be arrangements made for them to get there on Saturday. So don't think, oh no, it's on Saturday, now we have to cancel everything. But they'll likely need information. They'll likely need to go to their rabbi and figure out how to do it. We actually live around the corner from Shady Grove, and Alana has actually connected Orthodox grantees to stay at us. So we actually are able to do that, or sometimes they can get driven there by someone else. So there are things to be done, but it's important as a clinic to be aware in advance that scheduling can often help avoid this issue. Another issue that comes up are the laws of family purity. So in the Orthodox religion, there is something that we observe where with the onset of any vaginal bleeding, the couple will avoid physical contact for typically around 11 to 13 days, which means that sometimes when they need a sperm sample, it's going to come out during a time where they can't be intimate together. And also, Orthodox men typically will not masturbate, which means that sometimes it can be religiously impossible to provide a sample on a certain day. So one thing that's important to figure out is to, first of all, to discuss in advance how they're going to be available, depending on what day on their calendar is going to work. But also sometimes the best thing is for them to have a sample frozen in advance. And this way it just avoids that extra headache where, oh no, we need a sample today and we can't get it. But again, they're also, the most important thing is just to provide them information, ask what works for them. Because again, they're also sometimes with rabbinic help, they can figure out a way to make it work. And that covers both the laws of family purity and the laws of how to get the sperm sample. Another thing that comes up is just general modesty. During different times of the month, husband and wife, like I said, won't have any physical contact. So sometimes we assume as a doctor who's witnessing this couple, they may assume, oh, they're not hugging, they must have a poor relationship, or they're not doing this. Why? It must mean that they're not encouraging of each other. And very often it has nothing to do with that. It's purely a religious consideration. Another thing that comes up is very often when they come to meet the clinic the first time, a male or female patient will have a member of the other gender reach out a hand to shake their hand. And sometimes, depending on their religiosity, they may not be comfortable shaking hands with a member of the other gender. It's nothing to do with disliking them. It's purely a comfort issue within the religious context. So again, that's just something to be aware of. And again, just the most important thing is really in advance to discuss with them, listen, if you're Jewish, how observant are you? Are there things we need to know? How can we help you with scheduling? How can we help you with making sure this process will be simple? And very often just being accommodating when they have questions about just information they may need to relate to a rabbi or someone else that can guide them. Does anyone have any questions? And Ilana, did I miss anything? I don't have the slide because I'm not on the computer.
Yeah, no, I think you did it. Quinn, did you have something?
I was going to say we'll also have plenty of time at the end. We've left about 10 or 15 minutes to get into kind of specific discussions around some of these considerations. But on that note, thank you, Rabbi, so much for taking time out of your travel to be with us this morning. And we'll turn the mic over to Ilana to talk a little bit about the JFF grant process.
Sure. All right. So on our website, jewishfertilityfoundation.org is where our applicants, our grant applicants can find the application. So literally under services, there's 3 prongs, right? Financial assistance, emotional support, and educational trainings. It's the first one, financial assistance. And our grantees can find the full IVF grant application here and the IUI application as well. Basically, how it affects the fertility clinics, we ask that the physicians, the doctors, complete and sign the medical forms. Sometimes you're going to want the nurses to do it, but it's really, really important for our medical advisory council to have the doctors be the ones to fill out the information. And so basically, this is the information that is provided to the medical advisory council, who therefore are able to review the likelihood of the applicant achieving pregnancy and the likelihood of the applicant having residual embryos in the freezer. And then there's a whole nother, committee who is looking at all of their finances. And then there is a score, and that is how we come up with the amount of money that we're going to be giving the grantee. Did you know? Do you guys have, first of all, do you have any questions about the grant itself? All right, who can a nurse speak with if they have questions about the grants? We do have amazing city managers. Our city manager in Atlanta is Kayla. Kayla, you wanna say hello?
Hi, everyone.
All right, so Kayla can put her information into the chat. And if you have any questions at all about the grant application, she is the one to answer your questions. Another question, so you have coverage for IUI and IVF. How about BRCA? We currently do not. So we don't have anything specific, but if there is a case for genetics, like we don't pay for, what's the word? We don't pay for the genetic screening piece of it or removing the BRCA gene, but we will consider them for a grant to do the retrieval and to do the transfer. So does that answer your question?
The other thing I just wanted to add, J-Screen is also doing some screening for the BRCA gene as well.
Right.
And I think there's some grants for that as well.
So if they do come back and they are BRCA positive, I guess I should have answered that differently. Yes, we could do it, but we don't cover the full package of the cost. Another question, does JFF cover egg freezing? I wish we did, Dr. Libby. I'm sorry, we don't do it yet. What we do, the pieces of IVF that we cover are the retrieval and the transfer, and then costs associated with blood work, ultrasounds. We do not pay for medication. We do not pay for gametes, eggs, sperm, PGD, PGS, any of that yet. Thank you, Dr. McCarthy Keith. Glad you liked the lunch. All right, so, and grants currently are up to $10,000, yes. So it doesn't mean that everybody who applies will get $10,000. It is based on financial need. Grants size range from $1,000 to $10,000. Additionally, if individuals, regardless of financial need, want to apply for a one-time IUI grant, anybody within the Jewish community is can receive one. Other questions? All right. So this is a fun fact. Did you know that 11.1% of JFF clients find out about JFF from their fertility clinics? That's a nice number. I know we can increase it. One of the goals that we have is to make sure that you know about us, because if you know about us, you get to tell your clients or your patients about us. And again, because our emotional support and educational trainings are open to anybody, regardless of religious background, it's okay to talk about Jewish Fertility Foundation. It's okay to give them a pen or give them some swag. And of course, please be sharing information about our support groups and our Fertility Buddies program. You guys can read one of these testimonials yourself. We love our clinics.
Alana, can you share your screen, please?
Oh, I'm not sharing my screen. Thanks, hold on. No wonder you guys. Okay, this is one of our favorite testimonials. Thank you. And then I'm going to turn it back over to Emily, who is our National Program Director, to tell you a little bit about the polls that we ask, the post-program poll. So Emily.
Hi, everyone. I'm going to put a post-program survey in the chat. If you could please fill it out. And it's really nice to see so many of you here today. I'm actually going to pass it back to Quinn to answer all of your questions, if you have any, and maybe share a little bit about himself.
Ooh.
Thank you, guys. I just wanted to, we do have a little bit of time left. First things first, thank you everybody for being present today. We've had a lot of participants. So seriously, thank each and every one of you. And thank you to Emily and Kayla for organizing this, and really the entire staff at JFF. And thank you so much to our speakers for taking time out of their busy week to be with us and to educate us. For everybody that's on site, please go grab some JFF swag. I'm kind of jealous that I'm not there right now because it looks awesome. But the next, 10 or 15 minutes really are for all of you guys to ask any and every question you may have. Any question for me, for Alana, for the rabbi, for Lynn. No question is a bad question. So this is really an opportunity. If you have any questions about the grant process, if you have any questions about who has access to any and all of these programs, please ask away.
So I see one question now from Lisa Smith. We do partner with an interest-free loan association, but if you want to give the information, like your patient's information, Kayla, who I put her information again in here, will be happy to direct them to the interest-free loan association and let them know what the process is.
Also, if it's easier, people can email Kayla directly, or you can email info@jewishfertilityfoundation.org. And then anyone at JFF can answer your questions and direct your patients where they need to go.
The other thing is when people are applying for grants from JFF, on that application, they can check the box if they want the Jewish Interest-Free Loan Association to look at their application to consider them for an interest-free loan.
And while we're waiting on more questions, if you don't mind filling out this post-program poll, that's really helpful for us. It'll just take a few minutes, I promise.
So while we're waiting for questions, I'll chime in real quick with a thank you for everyone. Again, Clint Anderson, I'm the executive director for the Atlanta region for Shady Grove Fertility. Yesterday was actually my 6-month mark with Shady Grove, so I'm still learning fertility, and I'm certainly still learning the relationships with all of the awesome organizations that we work with, especially with the JFF. So this has been very helpful for me to meet all of you all. First of all, see everyone's face, and I'm extremely energized by the questions that we're getting from every one of our teammates out here, from financial, from clinical, and it just tells me that this was absolutely a fantastic spend of our time, and I really appreciate you all spending your time with us today and helping to help us learn how we can continue to partner for the benefit of our patients. So thank you.
Clint, it's nice to see your face. We email all the time.
Yeah, and thank you for that very nice welcome note that I got a few months ago there. I appreciate that.
Of course.
I think someone had a question about, will they receive a copy of the webinar?
Absolutely. If you want to email info@jewishfertilityfoundation.org, we can send it directly to you. We don't have, or you can put your email in the chat and we can send it, whatever you prefer.
Awesome. Well, we are all here if you guys have any other questions that pop up as you're thinking about this webinar later on this afternoon. Thank you, Emily. There's our contact information. Once again, thanks everybody for helping today, and thank you all for joining.
Thank you so much, Quinn.
Thank you.
Thanks, Quinn.
Yay, go team.
Thanks,
Quinn. We're so excited to have you join us.
Oh yeah, surprise. I didn't say that at the beginning of our webinar.
Minor detail.
For all of you that I haven't met yet, I'll be joining the SGF team next August or September. So I look forward to working with you guys and building families together.
Can't wait.
You guys got a good one.
Yes, we did.
Awesome.
Thank
you,
guys.
everyone. Have a great afternoon.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks. Bye.